Am I audible?
Yes, Preethi. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. And I believe you all can see the screen and hear me. So before we get into the topic, let me introduce myself. I'm Preethi here. I have vast experience in IT and almost more than 8 years of experience into DevOps, worked with the various tools, worked in different DevOps strategies, and I'm certified in Kubernetes and Terraform and working as a DevOps manager in an MNC. So I'll be taking up the this course, complete course for you all. And I would like to know about each one of you through your profiles. And I understood that we have people from different experience levels, different backgrounds, right? So this course is designed in such a way that anyone can catch up this with this course. Like anyone can benefit out of this course. It was designed in such a way that every topic will be dealt from the basics to advanced concepts. So that if you already know some basics, it would be kind of a refresh and will proceed to the advanced real concepts so that you can apply them in the project. That's the main objective of the course. It's not just learning the topic and moving on. It's about learning the things and implementing it in the project. So to facilitate that, I am here with all the real scenarios, practical implementation. It would be complete hands-on. Every day it would be complete hands-on because DevOps, it's more than hands-on, like it's more than theory. Almost everything will be dealt with the practicals. Today, it's a day one, it's a demo or intro kind of, so that we'll get familiarized with a high level picture of what is DevOps, why you need DevOps, why are we here, who should learn it. So this session will answer all the majority of the questions you may have about DevOps, right? That's the objective of today's class. Like you will get a big picture of DevOps and the roles and responsibilities of a DevOps engineer, DevOps tools and skills. These are the things we'll be dealing with today. Just give me 1 second, please. Yeah. All right.
Same.
Uh, yeah, any questions if you have, you can unmute and speak out, or else you can put in the chat window. You can reach out to me for any sort of questions.
Yeah,
So
Preeti, I have a question. I just want to know about the real-time projects.
I'll be giving you all the information in this session, what all the things we'll be doing here. Hope that helps you. So, like I said, let's begin with the very basic, like what is DevOps, right? So, why we need DevOps? Why are we learning DevOps? Some of you might be having an idea of it, so you can be sharing your inputs. We can have an interactive sessions. So, let's begin with what is DevOps. I'm going to share a black screen. Um, can you all see a black screen? Appreciate your quick responses.
Yes.
You can unmute and let me know if you have any challenge in viewing the screen or hearing.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about what is DevOps, right? So by seeing this, you can understand it's a combination of two terms, development and operations, right? So what does a development team do? What do they do? What are the major tasks? And what is an operations team? What do they do? Isn't it? So what are the major tasks? So let's understand from the perspective of development. Before going to that, let me tell about one more thing. See, to develop or else, see if you are using some application, like we were using so many applications in our daily life, like you use Gmail, you use Instagram, Facebook, Amazon for shopping, some banking applications for all the transactions we make. So if you take any application, we are using it, means end user, end user is using this application means there are so many teams involved in it, right? There were so many teams who work for the application so that end user can use the application. So many teams involved in it. Here we'll be talking about the major or the main teams like development team, operations team, and QA team. QA team is nothing but testing team. There were so many teams involved, but we were focusing on these three. like development team, QA team who test the application, ops teams who work for deploying an application. So before we dive deep in, let's talk about who are developers, programmers or developers who write the code, right? Or else who design the application, who work with the client requirements and design the application is called a development team, correct? So they write the code, they build the application, right? And coming to QA team, once code is written by developers, they test their code, right? Again, different levels of testing is there, different types of testing, like you have manual testing, automation testing, and so on. And then ops teams, when you talk about ops teams, operations, yes, they do work on so many activities. Like once code is ready, tested, they work on deploying the application, right? Or else, let me put it this way. Generally, ops teams will look after the servers on which your application is running, services. They check off the networks. Maybe let's say, maybe we call them as admins, ops teams, whatever you call. They take care of the servers, services, networks, access, all the admin related stuff, right? In short, we can say infra management. All the infrastructure would be taken care by ops teams, right? And also developers to perform their tasks, maybe to write the code or to build their code or to design their application. They may need certain tools, certain operating systems, certain changes. Similarly is the case with QA team. So if development team or QA team need any changes to the infra, they will request the ops teams. And ops teams should serve their request. Right? This is how it works. So when developers, let's say developers have requested for a new operating system, ops teams, before serving their request, they will do lot many checks, right? They have to do lot many checks. If this change is made, is the infra going to be stable? Is the network going to be stay connected or any access level issues? So they have to check all these things before they serve the request. Even though they do all these checks, if something goes wrong, they should be able to handle, troubleshoot, and bring the system back, bring the environment back, right? So ops teams would be always looking for stability in the infrastructure, whereas development team or QA team need agility to execute their tasks day in and day out, right? So if you look in here, there is no proper communication. Means developers doesn't understand. Developers are waiting for their infra, right? With their changes they need. Ops team are still taking some time. So developers doesn't understand why ops team is taking so much time to serve the request. Similarly, ops team doesn't understand why developers are requesting these changes frequently. Correct? There is a gap between these teams. There is a gap between, there is no proper collaboration, no proper communication. Also, their core areas or else their areas of competencies, their skill set is different. Developers will know some programming languages, some build tools, database knowledge, and so on. Ops teams will have knowledge on administrative part, like managing the servers, maintaining the servers, and so on. Means their areas, their skill set is different, their core competencies are different. So they can't understand why this ops team is still taking so much time to serve the request. Similarly, ops team doesn't understand why dev team is taking requesting all these changes. See, whenever I see dev team, I'm including QA also because they do have similar requests. So there is a gap between these teams, no proper understanding, no proper collaboration. How to eliminate this gap? Do we have any options or any ideas? How can we overcome this gap between the teams so that they can work with the proper collaboration and proper understanding? Is it possible? If so, how is it possible? Any thoughts, any ideas from your end? Vetrivel says DevOps. Suresh says DevOps. These are the messages I'm receiving from the chat. Okay, any more inputs? Okay, see, this is one of the reasons why DevOps came in. There were many reasons why DevOps came in. So you understood, right? We were talking about why DevOps. Why are we looking for DevOps? So one of the reasons is to eliminate the gap between the teams. Is that the only reason why DevOps came in? Obviously, no, there are many other reasons. Let me give you the other reason. Let's suppose, okay, development team are ready with the code. They have written the code, it's all done. Now, they will send it to QA team. QA team will test it, manual testing, automation testing, again using different test cases, whatever it is. I'm not diving into what QA does. So basically, they'll test the application, they'll check whether it is as per the expectations or not. And they will send the feedback to developers. Developers will fix the code, will fix the bugs if any, and this process keep on continuing till the application is defect-free or bug-free. Let's suppose application is defect-free or bug-free. They will hand over this to ops teams. See, I'm talking about traditional approach without DevOps. Okay, there is ops team. So they'll hand over this to ops team. Ops team have to deploy them on the servers so that end users can use it. Correct? Means they should run it on the servers. If anyone is new to deployment, they have to run this application on different servers so that end users can use it. So they have to get the servers ready, right? Also, when they make the servers ready, they should see the right versions of dependencies are installed. Let's suppose it's a Java application. They should know which version of Java should be installed, correct? Which versions of Java? Let's say they need Tomcat. Which version of all those dependencies should be installed on those servers? So that information, which versions will work for this application, should be given by developers. So developers may also give that instruction document along with the application. Right. So when they provide this instruction document along with the application, ops teams will go through the instruction document and will deploy it. But when they go through this instruction document, right, ops teams, when they are going through this instruction document, some of the instructions may not be working. Some of them may be working on Windows. Some of them may not be working on Linux. And also the instructions provided by developers may not be clearly understood by ops teams. Again, for the same reason, their areas, their core competencies are different, right? So they don't have clarity. So they have to fix this. They have to work on this instruction document. They see that the application is running, which take quite long time. Deployment may take some couple of months. Also, even though it's deployed, if something is broken, let's say application is down, they should be taking care of high availability of the application. If something goes wrong, they should be working on backup, recovery, and so on. So this is a huge challenge for ops teams, which is taking a lot of time. Again, that's where DevOps comes in to increase the velocity of deployments, to speed up the velocity of deployments. Right? They need the deployments faster. Faster deployments are possible with the DevOps. How it is possible? How can this deployments become faster? By using the automation, right? They use the tools. Also, the approach or the way how the application is being handed over to ops teams totally changed. We'll talk about this technical part, like how the way change and all with the Docker and all. We'll discuss that in detail in the respective sessions. Here, my idea is why DevOps came in. Because of this method, which is very slow, where deployments were very slow, DevOps came in. With the DevOps, the way they hand over the application totally changed, which made the deployments faster, right? How exactly we will discuss, we'll deep dive in once we get into the topics. So deployments became faster with the DevOps. It eliminates this problem of ops teams understanding the instruction document, working with the compatibilities. All of these is eliminated, which makes deployments faster. So that's why DevOps came, because that's what companies need, right? They need deployments faster. If you take some application like Amazon or any banking application, do you see some features appear overnight? Depending on some pandemic or some economic crisis, if something like this happens, you see some features on the application in an overnight. Do you ever imagine how quickly we were seeing those features? Yes, that's where DevOps is implemented so that you can, like any feature, any changes, any new versions of the applications can be deployed in a minutes as well. So 24/7 automation is possible. 24/7 automation means like manual intervention. Without manual intervention means like there is less manpower needed as we progress. Initially, we need more people, right? But as we progress, the whole process will be automated. So the strongest in this automation process will survive. So this is the right time to invest your time and effort and learn such automation process. One such is DevOps, which is having huge demand in the market in the coming years. So yeah, it eliminates the gap. It makes the deployments faster. Is that the only thing? Anything else we have? Of course, yes. It eliminates the drawbacks or overcomes the challenges of traditional methodologies. What are traditional methodologies? What is an SDLC? What is a software development lifecycle? Let me go from the basics, just an idea. What is an SDLC? Software development lifecycle, which is nothing but sequence of activities involved in development. Like first you have requirement gathering. Requirements will be gathered from the client. Then understand the requirements, requirement analysis. Then comes design, coding, testing, and delivery and maintenance, right? This is how an application goes through. Every application goes through these different phases, and each phase comes one after the other. By now, you might have understood. That's what is waterfall methodology. See, if you are new to it, don't worry. Just I'm telling you, this is a methodology, a process involved in developing an application. And again, some methodologies were there, like one such is waterfall. Waterfall model, it just goes in one direction from top to bottom. It just goes only in one direction. Means after gathering only analysis comes in. After design coding comes and so on. Means let's suppose if you are in a coding phase, client cannot come up with new requirements. No, that's not accepted. Once you get the requirements will be freeze. Let's say you got the requirements in 2024. Okay, March. They were freezed. 2024, they were freeze. They don't accept any new requirements, no new modifications. So without accepting new modifications, new requirements, it just goes through this process. And this methodology has got lot many challenges faced by both development team and ops team. Correct? Do you agree? And what are those? Can anyone share the challenges faced by development team and ops team? What are the challenges faced by development team and ops team? See, it's a very slow model. Let's say coding is completed on January, right? Next testing begins only after 6 months. Meanwhile, developers will be working on new code. Then testers start testing and they come with the bugs. Developers will have lot of pressure, keeping the new code aside, fix the bugs in the old code, right? They have like lot of challenges, lot of pressure, because testing, if done immediately, would be economical and faster. If testing begins after 6 months, it doesn't work in reality. So it's a very slow model, not flexible. Like they don't accept any new requirements after 6 months. So they should just go with the same requirements, not flexible. Complete software will be delivered all at once. Like after 2 years, complete software may be delivered. Like after, like maybe in 2026, right? Complete software may be delivered without accepting any changes in these 2 years. If you see nowadays, it's a customer facing world. Business changes very rapidly. If you are not able to accommodate those changes and deliver them whatever they have given on 2024, by 2026, client doesn't need this anymore, right? So this methodology have all these challenges. Even though it served the industry for decades, it has got all these challenges. Similarly, ops team also face challenges. Like this methodology is because it's slow, they need to maintain the servers up and running, right? They should maintain the servers for longer duration. Maintaining the servers for longer duration without downtime is a challenge. Here I'm talking about without using any tools. Poor configuration management. Configuration management is again a separate topic which will be dealt with Ansible. But here, let me tell you, poor configuration management means, yes, there is no proper control on the infrastructure, proper maintenance on the infrastructure, right? And also monitoring is manual. If you have 1,000 servers, if you monitor manually, That doesn't work. You need to have some automation to monitor what's happening on what server, status of the server, services, all of this should be monitored. Again, how to overcome these challenges? That's where again DevOps came in. Actually, Agile methodology, but it was successful only to overcome the challenges of dev team. But challenges of ops team were still there. So that's where DevOps came in, which can overcome challenges of both. I'll also talk about Agile in a while, like how it overcome these challenges, just to give you some idea. But is this much clear for everyone? Why DevOps came in? Are we good? Am I clear? Appreciate your quick responses. Thank you, Suresh, for confirming in the chat. How about others?
Yeah, Preethi, it's clear.
Yes, Preethi, fine.
I would like to hear from each and every one of you. I would like to see that everyone is following the session completely. Yeah, thank you all for confirming. So let's have a brief idea about how Agile overcome this methodology, because like to certain extent development challenges overcome, right? But how is that possible? Let me give you some idea on that as well. Here the idea is not to teach you SDLC or Agile, but just an idea so that like you could understand the importance of DevOps. So Agile is to certain extent overcome the challenges of developers. But how is that possible? That's possible because Agile implemented the concept of continuous integration and continuous testing. What does that mean? Let me tell you. In Agile, every week or every alternative week code will be delivered. It's not that it is delivered after 2 years, right? Every week, every alternative week, there will be a release. Right? Also, bug fixing is faster, right? And also, like bug fixing is faster. Every week there will be a release. Code is always stable and ready. How is this possible? Because of continuous integration, continuous testing. We will again deep dive into it, but again, I'm just giving you an idea here. Let's talk about week 1. Suppose here code will be developed in bits and parts and chunks. Let's say on week 1, a chunk of code A is developed. Okay. Let's say a chunk of code A is developed on week 1. On week 2, let's say this chunk of code A, okay, let's say this chunk of code A is developed here, right? On week 2, this particular chunk of code A immediately will be going for testing. This will be going for testing. This will be tested. Again, on the same week, another chunk of code B will be ready. Okay, B will be another chunk of code B developed. Suppose again on week 3, this B will be tested. Okay, this B will go for test. Also, at some point of time, A and B will be combined and tested. Then only it makes complete product, right? It should be integrated with the old code and test. Then only it makes a complete product. So if you see any particular week, both the testing and development is happening, which is nothing but continuous development, right? And also continuous testing and continuous integration, because all of that would be combined and tested again. This is what is continuous development, continuous testing, and continuous integration, which made it to overcome the challenges faced by developers. But challenges faced by ops team were still there. Got it, everyone? We'll be deploying, we'll be creating this CI/CD pipelines and all. So just understand, yes, it overcomes to certain extent, but not in a full-fledged manner. That's where DevOps came in. DevOps can overcome the challenges completely. So it eliminates the gap between the teams. It deploys faster. It overcomes the challenges faced by traditional methodologies, right? That's why DevOps came in. Are we clear with why DevOps came in? And now, if it is clear, we'll talk about what is DevOps. Good to go?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are all some of the challenges which led to DevOps. So now what is DevOps? DevOps is nothing but a methodology. Okay, it's a process, it's a methodology which makes deployments faster, which eliminates the gap between the teams, which overcomes the traditional approaches, which overcomes the challenges posed by the traditional methodologies like Agile or Waterfall. Right? To understand this, let me tell you, it's a methodology. Means once developer is ready with the code, see, there will be still development team. There will be so much of confusion. Is DevOps person going to write the code? No, there is still development team who write the code. Okay, there will be still QA team who test the code, who write automation test case or whatever, and who test it. And then earlier they used to hand it over to ops teams, but now they hand over it to DevOps team. Okay, the process, the way they hand over also changed. Earlier they used to just hand over this app directly with instruction document, but now they containerize it and share it. Okay, because you don't know what is containerization, right? So I don't want to get into it. We'll be getting into in detail in the coming up session. So I would like to tell you here, yes, the way they hand over the application also changed. Because of that change, now DevOps team need not work on the individual underlying dependencies like which version of Java, which version of Tomcat. They just take this container and run it on all the servers your application is running. Means the way of deployment, the way of development, the way of deployment also changed, which brought DevOps, right? So the way change means once the code is ready and once it is tested, they will hand it over to DevOps team. DevOps team will take care of automating it and deploying to all the environments till production environment. Means in short, once developer is ready with the code. Okay, if you know the process of automation on how it reaches in the production servers, means it would reach the production servers automatically without manual intervention. Of course, to production servers means first to lower level environment, then to the production environment. I'm sorry. Yeah. So it goes from lower environment to the higher environments. And if you know this process of automation, how this is happening, that's what is DevOps. So this part is DevOps. Okay, this is where you involve as a DevOps person after coding and testing, like how you automate it to the production environments. That's what is DevOps. Anyone who have this skill set of automation is a DevOps engineer. So there is still development team is there, QA team is there, ops teams. Instead of ops team, we have a DevOps team who know this process of automation. Anyone who can automate this process is a DevOps engineer. And you might be having a question. Should you learn development coding? No, development team is there. QA team is there. You need to know this process of automation. Majority of you might be having this question. Am I correct? Let's share our thoughts and ideas so that we can have interesting sessions, the more productive conversations. Yeah. So I think this answers your query. Next question comes in is, I'm a developer. Let's suppose some of you might be a developer for 15 years. You still want to continue as a developer only because you have passion for development, or else you want to be a developer. You basically have interest over it. You can still continue as a developer, but even then you should know this process because it's a new methodology. Even though you don't work in this process of automation, because your application is going through this methodology and the way you hand over the application changed. Am I making sense? The way developers are handing over change. Earlier, they used to share that artifact, the WAR file or whatever it is, whatever you call it. I'll talk about those things in detail in the sessions, but I'm giving you a high level picture here. Let me know if I'm making sense. The way earlier they used to hand over the application directly, but now they containerize and share it. Means you should know Docker, right? You should know what is meant by containerization, why you should do it, how it is affecting the next phases. So you should have this idea, right? So even though you are a tester, you are a developer, you should know this DevOps approach. Of course, you may not need to deep dive in like a DevOps person, but you should know the concepts of containerization. You should know the concepts of CI/CD flow. So everyone should pick up this. Everyone should learn this DevOps strategies, DevOps methodology. Not only DevOps person, everyone should have an idea because it's a process. It's not any just simple tool or it's a programming language. DevOps is a methodology. What are the different strategies involved? What is a CI/CD strategy? Like what are the, again, different approaches? How you are, as you are part of the CI/CD as a developer, everyone should know this. Or nowadays, like almost all the companies, even all the gigantic companies are already implementing it. All the small companies, startups, mid-scale companies were stepping into it. In couple of years, every project will implement this. So this is the right time for you to learn such an advanced methodologies which are helping or which brought a lot of change in the way of development and deployment. Right? So this is what is DevOps. If you ask me to deep dive in, or else let's elaborate this more with respect to other methodologies. If you ask me to compare with other methodologies,
Hey, Preethi, Preethi, sorry to disturb you in the middle.
no problem.
Do we need to know these? Yeah, do we need to know these? And waterfall or agile technologies being a DevOps engineer?
Waterfall and Agile, you don't need to know. Just to understand the importance of it, I have given an overview. That is enough. You don't need to learn them because we are working in another methodology called DevOps. You don't need to know those old methodologies. Just an idea why this new methodology came. That much is it.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about, comparing it with the other methodologies, right? Let's talk about, let's take SDLC or waterfall methodology. Okay, and then Agile, and then DevOps. If you take Agile, there would be major phases like development, testing, deployment, and monitoring. Each happens one after the other in a sequence, right? But when you talk about Agile, development or testing happening every week. I have shown you, right? Some minutes back, few minutes back, we were seeing like development testing happen parallelly. So it's called continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, because any code will be merged into the system and again tested. Development testing happening parallelly, iteratively, continuously, whatever you call it. But then deployment is manual. Once everything is done, it would be deployed and monitored once all the application coding is completed. But then DevOps came in. Yes, it also does continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, along with the continuous deployment and continuous monitoring. Right? Means every change developer make. Let's say developer made some changes. There is this is called CI/CD pipeline. This pipeline will execute the test cases. Test cases were written by testers, but this pipeline will execute them, will run them. Execute the test cases, integrate it, deploy it. Means any new feature will be deployed to production servers. Means in this deployment, first deploy to some test environment, staging environment, UAT, prod, pre-prod, and then prod. Right? This is all automated. Any feature, any code commit, any changes done by developers will go through the process and hits the production servers immediately. That's how you see new features in every day. Facebook is a best example of this. It sounds risky and challenging, right? Every feature hitting the production servers automatically. Of course, first it hits the lower environments and then production environment. Right? Yes, Facebook is the best example for it. And yes, this is now quite common in DevOps methodology. So how they are facing this challenge, like how you build your pipelines robust so that it can hit the production servers without any hiccups, any challenges. That's what is DevOps. Got it, everyone? And if you want me to differentiate with respect to the teams, in waterfall methodology, there were 3 separate teams. Each is working separately without any proper collaboration, no proper understandings in silos. QA team doesn't understand development doesn't understand ops team. Doesn't understand, it means it's not expected that ops team should go and write the code or developers should do deployments. At least they should know the flow. They should communicate, right? But that's not happening in Agile. Then in Waterfall, because development and testing are happening parallelly, iteratively, right? These two teams were brought together, which is called as, we were referring them as dev team. That's why I told you when I say dev, it's QA also included. It doesn't mean again QA people will go and write the code, developers will know testing. They know the process. They communicate well because every week it's happening, every week they were integrating. So communication became more, they understand the challenges of others, right? Then, but still ops team is left in isolation in Agile. Ops team doesn't have any clue of what they were doing. Similarly, dev team doesn't have clue of ops team. But then DevOps came in, which even brought these two together and which is called DevOps. They brought these two teams together means there were some common areas of interest. Like I told you, right, the way of development changed. They were containerizing and handing over to ops teams. So there was some common skill set. They know what they do, like ops teams after creating this container, how they deploy, they have some common areas of expertise, common skill set, and they work regularly because whenever a feature is developed, it is rolled out to production environments. So they communicate very frequently, they work together, so they understand the process, challenges each other's face. Got the point? So that's how gap is eliminated. Exactly how they can bring together, what is the CI/CD, all of that we will be deep diving into those topics in the coming up classes. Are we good now?
SPP, I have one doubt. Actually, what is the continuous integration of the code? Actually, if I more understand that, you please elaborate.
I'm again mentioning here, I have just given a high level, very high level picture, but integration is nothing but, let's say this week, a bit of code A is developed. Okay, it is tested today. Next week, another bit of code B is developed. That is also tested. But again, this A and B should be combined and tested, right? Let's say you have an application already. A new feature should be integrated into it and tested. All the entire system should be tested again after integration, because you never know which side effects this new changes brought, right? That's what is integrating the code, integrate the new changes into the system.
Yeah,
Got
got
an
it.
idea?
Yeah, got it. Thank
We
you.
will see practically, okay, we are going to build these pipelines. From tomorrow onwards, hands-on begin, wherein we go step by step. As we go by, you can connect the dots and you will see the complete flow. So I think I made the things clear about why DevOps came in and what is DevOps, right? Then comes, we learned why DevOps came in, what is DevOps, then comes the most important part, how to implement it, right? How is this going to happen? That is all where the complete hands-on comes. Any questions, you can feel free to ask me. And yeah, this is what we were talking about. This presentation helps you like a reference as a notes, right? You can refer what is the waterfall methodology, why Agile brought, like what are the Agile does, why DevOps came in. Whatever we discuss is documented here with the differences, everything. You can refer this after that class. So now that we understood like what is DevOps, why DevOps, let's talk about the roles and responsibilities of a DevOps engineer. Right, DevOps engineer should be able to work at any point in the CI/CD process, also in the infra setup, and we will again deep dive into the roles and responsibilities as we progress with each tool. And the major role would be like you should be able to work in any phase in that CI/CD pipelines to automate the deployments of the code, and also setting up the infrastructure, managing the infrastructure, monitoring all these tools, all these are the responsibilities, right? Once we get into the tool, you will understand those better. See, these are all the tools I'll be covering here, like version control system, Git, Maven, Jenkins, Docker, Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, Prometheus, Grafana, certain AWS services which will help DevOps. All of this will be covered. Here I have just given a brief list of them. If you look into version control system, Git will be covered. There were so many other tools like SVN, TFS and all. I am covering the tool which is market leader, like which is very widely used in the market. And also if you know Git, other tools in the same category are self-explanatory, right? So master one tool in each category. That's why we are going through this. And AWS services will be covered, whichever needed for DevOps. Also, if you know one cloud, that is enough. You don't need to learn all the clouds like Azure, AWS, and so on. Companies are looking for people who have knowledge in one cloud, right? They know that candidates should be flexible enough to work on any cloud or any. Similarly, if you know Git, you should be flexible enough to work on any other tool because they were similar, and that's what companies expect, right? Because you never know. This is a DevOps. Day by day, we are getting new tools. So you should be able to flexible enough. You should be flexible enough to pick up or work on new technologies and tools. That's what companies are looking for the candidates. So master one tool under each category. Master or learn like if you see a container orchestrator, Kubernetes, monitoring tools, Prometheus, you master one tool in each category, so that these are very widely used. In case if you have to work on any other tool also, yes, you can easily pick up other tools in the category where there will be similarities. Any questions on this skill set? GitHub Actions are similar to Jenkins, Pradeep. Git is a version control system. GitHub is like a Jenkins continuous integration tool. Any questions? The
Yeah,
detailed course content is there on the website. Yes, please go ahead.
yeah. Hi, Preethi, myself, Narayana.
Hmm.
I think nowadays upgradation of the Git Copilot also is came, right? Is it covered or not?
A co-pilot will not be covered. Like I said, right? If you know version control system, right? The add-ons, all of this you can learn easily.
Mm-hmm. And you have mentioned the Terraform also. The Terraform, it will be covered in depth of, or for basic level it will be covered. It will.
Every tool will be covered to advanced topics, whichever needed for you for DevOps to work in the projects and clear the interviews. That's the main objective. All the advanced concepts like using Terraform modules, creating custom modules, and using Terraform to create EKS cluster and integrating in the CI/CD pipeline also will be covered.
It will be basic for that AWS with right.
Sorry, it will be?
AWS services, you can like infra level.
Yes.
Okay.
Automating the infrastructure with Terraform and integrating the Terraform in the CI/CD also will be covered.
Okay.
I am Terraform certified and I have worked with Terraform to the core. So yes, you'll get a benefit out of it.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
So you mean to say that all these are aimed at running on AWS services?
Which all of this? All of this meaning?
Maybe, I mean, as you said, Terraform or maybe Ansible, Jenkins. So all these
See,
services we are
these
going to run
tools,
on.
first of all, these tools are irrespective of the cloud. Means you may use them on the cloud, you may use them on on-prem servers, you may use on your any virtual machines, you can use anywhere. These
No,
are
no,
all.
that's fine. I got that. But are you, I mean, demoing it or on the labs like you are doing it on AWS?
Yes, I'm doing it on AWS.
Okay, got it.
And yes, Argo CD will be covered, Helm charts will be covered, Ravteja. Here I have just listed the brief list, but yeah, those are all covered.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Preethi, Akil here. I have gone through the syllabus on the site which you have given, and I just want to just clarify. On the Kubernetes, you will be covering that scheduling and the security and the networking, and that EC is, I mean, service mesh is added on. So,
Kubernetes course content is there on the website, right? Whatever in the course content is there, that will be covered. Okay. Like if you
yeah,
know
I
service
didn't find that scheduling.
service
Sorry.
will not be covered. Okay, service mesh
Okay.
is far advanced topic. If you are certified, once you are certified, once you have experience of at least 5 years into Kubernetes, you'll pick up service mesh and networking of Kubernetes. Okay, that's going to be a different path all the way, right? Not that every DevOps engineer should learn it. That's expertise. If you are expertise in Kubernetes, that's where those comes in.
Okay, anyway, Ingress is using Ingress or NY process, and that's
Ingress,
why it's
Ingress will
they.
be covered. Ingress will be covered. Okay. EKS is also covered. EKS is a paid service on AWS, which is used in real time. So even that is covered. Cluster auto scaling will be covered. Okay. Helm charts, deploying to the cluster through Argo CD, integrating the CKS through the CI/CD pipeline, deployments to the CKS via CI/CD pipeline. All of that will be covered.
Scheduling and TLS termination security, all those.
TLS is nothing but ingress, which is done via ingress. Okay, scheduling of what? Scheduling is already done in Kubernetes by default. There is no separate way of scheduling, or else which type of scheduling?
Not selector pod affinity, that
Huh?
kind of things.
Come again, please. Node selector and pod affinity.
Pod affinities, that taint and tolerance, that kind of things. I didn't
Taints
find
and
on.
tolerations will be covered. Pod affinity. See, again, these are all particular, like a specific to some expertization, right? I can give an idea on it. So like how to apply that and all that I can do.
Preethi, myself, actually, what are the AWS services which you are covering into this? What?
Anyway, like EC2 will be covered, S3 will be covered, right? EKS will be covered. EKS is the major part, right? Elastic Kubernetes service, the paid and the managed service, that will be covered, which is a huge part in the Kubernetes platform. So yeah, EC2, S3, EKS service, and then developer tools or else the DevOps services like AWS code commit, code deploy, code build, code pipeline, all these services will be covered. Even the load balancers, auto scaling groups, all of this will be covered. These are all basic services which everyone will cover. But I would say the EKS part is the major part which will be covered. The most important part, I would say.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Preethi,
here,
what about the ELK? It will be covered or not? Elastic and log stacks and Kibana.
Logstash Kibana will not be covered. We are covering Prometheus here as a monitoring tool.
Okay, these two which is mentioned, the Prometheus and Grafana only.
Prometheus and Grafana will be covered.
For what about Datadogs, these Dynatrace?
Like I already said, there are hundreds of each tools in each category.
Yeah, but nowadays most of the organizations is asking for the Dynatrace, these advanced tools also. But
Prometheus is a far advanced tool. Even Prometheus has got a weightage. There are jobs based only on Prometheus as well. Prometheus
yeah,
is very widely used. So
yeah,
I
I
mean to say
know
there
that.
are hundreds of tools in each category. Okay, if you take monitoring tools, there are hundreds of tools. I can name, like you mentioned, I can name them. Similarly, if you take build automation tools or version control tools, you have too many. So here
Yeah.
they're mastering one tool which is very widely used. And if you have to work on any other tools with a little exploration, you can get into them. You don't need
Yes.
to learn all of them beforehand. That will not be possible.
Yeah, I have seen that. Mostly the multi-cloud also they're asking for that nowadays. In the any multi-cloud. Even though I'm getting a calls also that they're asking for these kind of stuff only.
Multi-cloud is nothing but multiple cloud environments, and it's a combination on-prem and cloud environments. That exposure you'll get. We are using AWS. We'll also use on-prem kind of setup for Kubernetes. You hear out of this course, like once you learn the complete this course, by the end you'll be able to implement on any platform. You can implement DevOps on any platform with this course. That will help you work or
Yeah.
for multi-cloud as well.
Yeah, I know that I already worked on that as the DevOps engineer. So that's the thing I'm looking into.
Sorry, I did not get
Yeah,
the
thank
last
you.
segment.
Yeah, I know that what you're saying, but mostly that organization is asking for advanced like multi-cloud, Azure also asking Azure and AWS.
Multi-cloud is combination of multiple clouds. So if you know one
Yes.
cloud, you can work on other clouds. That's
Yeah, they might be migrating a few projects, right? Migrating
also
projects also they are asking.
Yeah, also these days, because of the cost of cloud, like as the cloud cost is becoming more, companies, particularly even huge companies, they were also having on-prem Kubernetes cluster. So here you will also get exposure to the on-prem Kubernetes setup, which is having a good demand in the market.
Yeah, that is a mandatory. Kubernetes is it's a mandatory nowadays. Without Kubernetes, they won't even the profile also not shortlisting that. It's the basic mandatory of that Kubernetes.
Yeah. So here again,
Yeah.
I would say,
Thanks.
yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, Preethi, actually nowadays so they are asking for scripting knowledge in the DevOps side, whereas where we are using like in the Python or something like Bash shell
I'll
scripting.
answer your question in a while, Raja. Okay, give me a few minutes, please.
Yeah.
I just want to mention here, we definitely need Linux environment to learn these tools. Okay, in this course, we'll be covering Linux basics as well. So if anyone from Windows environment, this will help you. Like we'll be covering again Linux from the basics so that you can set up your environment and work on it. And here we'll be working all of this on AWS environment by creating a free account. Even you will also get on-prem knowledge on how to create the cluster, Kubernetes particularly on-prem. That info also you will be getting, like how to work with on-prem clusters. Then we'll move into EKS. So this is one thing, Linux basics will be covered so that you can get into it. Coming to scripting. Scripting is not mandatory for DevOps, okay? Like you say Python scripting or Bash scripting or shell scripting, whatever you say. You will see this in the profile, definitely, because it is also part of automation, but not that every project uses it. Okay, but you might be having some calls or job description saying that scripting is mandatory. Do you know scripting? Right? So
Yes,
it's
Preethi.
not,
Yeah,
so
actually the scripting knowledge is there. They are shortlisted profile. So
So
most
let me answer you. I'm coming to that. So
yeah.
you will be having calls saying that you need a scripting knowledge, right? It's not that all the JDs are for you. Okay, there let's say 100 job descriptions. It's not 100 job descriptions are for you. They were looking for scripting knowledge in depth, or else mandatory means they are looking for people with a previous scripting skills or programming skills. You choose whether you want to take up that path or you want to take up a pure DevOps path, in the sense like it's not that every DevOps project uses scripting. We don't use scripting. I haven't worked in scripting projects till now out of my more than 8+ years of experience into DevOps. We have used scripting, but it doesn't mean that we select people who have scripting skills only. Scripting skill is mandatory. You see the difference, right? They need scripting as a good to go, right? Scripting knowledge is required. We use scripts here and there, so scripting knowledge is good to have. But it's not mandatory that people should have only scripting. So you choose the job description or you choose the path you want to go. If you want to go for such projects where scripting is mandatory, where scripting skills are in the depth you want, you should pick up another course for scripting, and you should have prior background of development so that you can choose that pathway. Let's say you are not from development, you are not into scripting till now. You concentrate on expertise in Docker, Kubernetes, these things. You look after those job profiles where, yes, they look after for some Kubernetes expertise, or where they look after for configuration management tool, or they look after for Terraform experts. You choose the path. Their scripting would be like an add-on or else an additional or a good to go kind of thing. But don't choose the projects where scripting is mandatory. Let's say you want to choose that project, you are interested, then you should learn scripting as a separate course, maybe 3 months or so. How depth you want to gain the knowledge, it depends. I believe I answered your question.
Yeah, yes, Preethi.
So combining scripting into DevOps will not be possible. It's a totally a different skill where you should have basics of it. You have to start learning it like you learn programming. That's a different pathway altogether. So yeah, we do agree whenever it's because even nowadays for DevOps profile, the profile will not be clear, job description will not be clear, even HR doesn't have clarity, hiring managers will not have clarity. So you just put your questions, understand what they need, what is the job requirement, what is the job description, and then decide if it is for you or not. And you decide in which path you want to go. Do you want to master DevOps and then scripting also? If you have some 6 months or 8 months, that's fine, right? But you want to immediately get into DevOps, you want to get a role. It depends. Each one have different, their own priorities, their own plan. So accordingly, you can decide. With my course, if you concentrate or if you master the topics which I am covering here, like you are, and I can assure you that you can clear the interviews which are focusing on DevOps tools, DevOps strategies. You can clear those interviews and work in those projects confidently and comfortably. That we can assure you. Right? Let's say there is a project, DevOps project, but they need the shell scripting to the core. Right? They need a person dedicated for shell scripting, and you are looking for that particular role where shell scripting is their major work, then this is not for you. I think I made the things clear on what this course will help you, what is the agenda of this course. We are learning DevOps, or let's say any technology, not only DevOps. It doesn't mean that you can, you fit for all the JDs. So that's where you need to choose. Okay, so these are the tools we'll be covering. The deep dive of the course content also I can do towards the end. Let me take you to, yes, this is the pipeline. Okay, this is the CI/CD pipeline, where you can see developers write the code and place it in Git. It's pulled by Jenkins, continuous builds, continuous testing, continuous deployment by use of these different tools, continuous monitoring, and send the feedback, of course, to different teams. And this can be implemented. This pipeline could be on-prem or on VMs or anywhere, or it could be on any cloud as well. Like an example, we'll be doing it on AWS, right? This CI/CD pipeline will take 2 months to build. We'll start from tomorrow, starting from this. Okay, this is very high level picture, but as we go by, we'll zoom into each section. Okay, we'll deep dive into each section, right? How these tools work, how you integrate. It's not just learning the tool and going away. We will learn the tools from the basics till advanced, come back and put down, build this pipeline. Right? We'll build this pipeline phase by phase throughout the course, and we'll be building this on multiple applications. Some of you are asking about projects, right? That's nothing but a project. We'll building this pipeline on 2 applications, a simple monolithic application and a microservice application. So you will see both the ways how you build the CI/CD pipelines. This will take some time, 2 months. We'll parallelly build the pipelines on 2 applications, or 2 projects will be covered. Apart from this, if you have mastered everything we discussed, we learned here, if you need some other application for your practice also, I can provide. So as you go by, see, Git, we'll start with Git tomorrow. This will take some 5 days or so to master Git from basics till advanced. Then we'll come back and add it in the pipeline. Then we'll start Jenkins. We will learn it thoroughly, come back and add it to the pipeline. So that's how we build the pipeline, phase by phase. And towards the end, you will see the complete pipeline. You can connect the dots as we progress. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Raja, DevOps will take 2 months. Okay. In Python itself is a 6 months course. So integrating Python here, scripting here will not be possible. Of course, I cover shell scripting, I cover Linux. But I'm talking about a role where they were looking for in-depth of scripting, in-depth of Python. That will not be possible in this course. Am I clear, guys? Everyone?
Yes.
If the role is for in-depth of scripting skills, you should take up a separate course. Including it, you can't justify, you can't provide proper justification to the DevOps strategy. You will miss on this if I concentrate on, even if you concentrate on scripting parallelly, you can't do justification for the actual DevOps content. DevOps itself is so huge. The course is designed by choosing the right topics, right tools, right amount of content, what is required for you in the interviews. As I sit in the interview, through my personal experience, I have designed this course, what you should focus, what you can learn when you are in the project. So I have this clarification. I can differentiate what topics you should know when to jump in, what you can acquire after you get into the project. There is a difference. If you take up each tool, let's talk about Kubernetes. Go through the documentation of Kubernetes. If you just go to the official documentation, not only Kubernetes, any tool, because I have expertise in Kubernetes, I'm talking about it. Take up any tool. Pick up any tool. Okay. If you see the official documentation, it will take years to acquire the complete knowledge. Okay. That's where this training comes in. Right? See, it takes some years to go through all of this. Okay. Here, that's where the course comes in, designed in such a way that what you should learn to get into the job, to clear the interviews, right? What you can self-learn after getting into it, right? So that is the clarity I have, and that's how the course is designed, with the topics which you need to work on the projects or which you need to clarify the interviews. Vamsi Krishna, I think that's what I'm answering here. 2 months enough, that's what I'm answering. If you just see the documentation, no one knows all these topics. No one in real time, even though they have 20 years experience on Kubernetes, because see, it depends on what you use in your project, right? So with that experience, the course is designed. Definitely everyone will benefit out of it. And as per the project requirement, definitely you will see something new, which you can do it with self-expression. But what you should begin with, what you should learn to work in the project comfortably, that's taken care of. And Vamsi Krishna has a question. I'm working as a manual tester for 2 years. Can I change my career into DevOps? Definitely, Vamsi Krishna. What is the scope? Am I in a crossroads? Please suggest. You are in the right path, Vamsi Krishna. Testing, as you progress, you might not be having a complete scope or growth. You don't see that. Whereas in DevOps, with the new tools emerging in the market day in and day out, right? Also, you fit in this CI/CD pipeline because you also have knowledge on that testing. You see now how it's automated, and it is easy for you to learn that process also. Raghu has a question, why DevOps on Linux only? DevOps is not only on Linux, Raghu. I told you need to learn Linux because certain tools needs Linux environment, Linux platforms to run. Like if you take Prometheus, Prometheus can monitor Windows environments also, but still Prometheus should be installed on Linux. You have got certain dependencies for tools. That's where I'm talking about Linux is needed. Also, on the Linux platforms are more preferable for security, for faster deployments. That's another reason.
Preethi, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you please go back to the previous screen of that CI/CD pipeline picture on your PPT?
Give me a second. Are you seeing the screen?
Not yet. Yeah. So I want to ask you, how a DevOps professional, what exactly he'll be doing in this continuous testing and continuous monitoring thing with the use of Selenium or Grafana tool you have mentioned. So what we'll be learning into this and how it will be, different from the manual testing.
Testers write the test cases, right? Still testing team is there. Testers write test cases, maybe using UFT or Selenium or JMeter, whatever, right? So they do write test cases. Once they write the test cases, right, it will be, execution will be automated in the CI/CD pipeline. Here, as a DevOps person, you don't learn writing test cases. Okay, once test cases are given to you, you automate them. You automate their execution in the pipeline. That's what we'll be learning here. And Prometheus are for monitoring. See, as a DevOps person, you should be able to work in any of these phases, like continuous monitoring your application, monitoring your infrastructure, all of them is taken care by this monitoring tool. So you should learn how to integrate Prometheus here or how to set up Prometheus for monitoring your infrastructure. All of these are the tasks done by DevOps person.
So in a nutshell, we can say whatever the manual process was there, that will always be there at the back end. A DevOps person will be automating it, and it will work seamlessly. That's it.
Yes, yes, it's all automated. There'll be no manual process at the back end. Now there is no manual process. Everything is automated.
Can you please explain a little bit more about what you will be teaching in this continuous testing thing? Just elaborate it a
In
little, please.
continuous testing thing, tester will give us test cases. So I have test cases written by testers. Okay. We will see how you execute them in the pipeline automatically. Test case execution is automated here. That we will learn.
Let's say the application is a taxi booking platform, for example, and what kind of test cases can be and how it will be automated? Can we discuss that, or it is
It could be any level of any level of testing. It could be integration testing, unit level testing, regression testing. It could be any test cases. Test cases could be written using any automation tool. Here, our interest, our focus as a DevOps person is given you some test cases, be it any level of testing, let them use any type of testing tool. Your job is to execute them in the pipeline in an automated fashion. That we will learn. We will not learn which tool they are using, how they wrote test cases, which tool they have used, how to write those test cases, which level of testing, all of that we will not focus as a DevOps person. Given any test cases, how do you automate that execution in the pipeline? That part we will be focusing on.
okay? Thank you.
And one more thing, madam. So with this course knowledge, for how many years of experience job can I apply and survive in the job?
Here I am covering advanced topics like let's take a cluster auto scaling concept, or else EKS concepts, or else Terraform modules to spin up EKS cluster. These are all advanced concepts which even 6 years person will use, 3 years person will use. It depends on the project and their requirement. So minimum you can claim 3 years experience, provided you are learning, you are thorough with whatever I teach. Minimum you can claim 3 years. If you expertise it thoroughly, you can also claim up to 6 years. But minimum, I would say 3 years you can claim.
Okay, 3 to 6 between. Okay.
So, and about this course, like I have given you an idea, every day there'll be hands-on. Okay, from tomorrow, hands-on begins. We'll start with it. Every day you will be having a quiz. In the quiz portal, we have a portal where you have the quiz which you have to cover every day, right? This is the portal. Okay, on every tool, day to day, you have the quiz which you need to go through. Assignments, interview questions, you are equipped with all these details. And the complete real scenarios will be covered. Today also, like today, it's just a day one, right? An intro. So I'm sharing you a quiz here itself. Hope you all got the quiz. There will be some questions which are out of discussion also. That is for you to think and answer. Have you all received the quiz? There is a question from Raghu. I am having 11 years of experience in backend development. Can I learn the case? Can I learn the case and how much it will be useful for me? Definitely, Raghu. Like I said, anyone can learn this and switch to DevOps role, provided you learn the strategies and automation process. Yes, you are having development experience, the backend development. You are good to go with this. Like with your experience, you know how development happens, the flow to a certain extent, right? On top of it, now you will learn how the way of development change, how you are going to develop and containerize replication and hand it over to ops team. So definitely you are related to it. It is a good choice for you. I have shared the quiz. You can go through the quiz, and meanwhile, any questions you have, you can ask me. I'll also walk you through this one. You have the lab material, interview questions, everything available. If you look into the interview questions on each topic, like if you take up Git, You have again different levels, beginners, intermediate, advanced, and scenario based. So as we progress, every day you have to pick up a quiz and pick up the interview questions, whichever covered during the day, like whatever topics, interview questions on that particular topic. This will help you to register, revise the things. All of that access you will get. If you are done with the quiz, let me know. This is for today, a simple one for recollecting the things. Any more queries from anyone?
Madam, I have one doubt.
Yes.
So nowadays market, the some companies are they are terminated for the people. So, madam, what about DevOps? Is a long continuation for the entering in the industry, or is some okay, some changes are modified. Pardon?
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, some companies are some tools are added or okay, I accept it. So, madam, what is the how it is in the future for DevOps, madam?
Like there are different scenarios and use cases. I have people, particularly in my training, like the previous batch, who got recruited last month also. There is a recession as well as recruitment as well. This will be there always hand in hand, right? Particularly for DevOps, it was good when compared with any other technologies. You can also inquire it. When compared with other tools, still people are getting calls for DevOps. When compared with other tools, DevOps is having good market. And in future also, you will have the same for DevOps. Other technologies, particularly maybe to name them, there are quite few. When you compare with them, DevOps is definitely having a good market. People are still getting the jobs. It's not about adding a new tool or any because of the tools. You should be expertising it. One who has got good subject will definitely get a job. Only thing is concentrate on learning, concentrate on mastering the subject. If you have the subject, if you have the knowledge, definitely you will have a job always. I'll share the results, Vandana. In few minutes, I'm going to end the quiz and we'll share it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Here,
one more question, and this is related for the administration, that kind of work activity in the real-time scenario, it's not related to the development, not for testing, madam. I accept with you. So it is related for the administration purpose, madam. This is for development.
In DevOps, there will be nothing like administration or anything. It is a DevOps methodology. You are working in DevOps methodology, you are working in automation process. That's all. It's not development, it's not testing, it's not administration also. It's a DevOps role. And I could see here 53% of them have taken the quiz. How about others? Any challenge? Are you seeing the quiz or not? Are you able to access it? If so, please everyone pick up the quiz. Can I close it or anyone going through it?
How much will be the AWS tools, like is AWS specific tools part of the course in form of percentage, say 20%, 25%, 10%?
Give me a second. AWS will be there throughout the course. Okay, we'll be having an infrastructure on AWS only. But I don't have the percentage calculation. Here is the course content. From the day one, not day one, like after Git, we'll be starting with AWS. Throughout the course, we'll use AWS. And AWS specific topics, because we'll have our infra on AWS. So we'll be using throughout. And again, AWS topics were listed out here. Build automation tool, Linux basics, Git containerization. Okay, AWS for cloud, all of these topics. And then again, AWS code pipeline, code build, code deploy, code commit. All of this will be covered. Cloud formation, we are not covering. We are replacing this with Terraform. So this is not required if you know Terraform. You can omit this 18 part. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 modules covered in for AWS. Of course, yeah, this is the major part which is listed as a topic here.
Development to deployment. Suppose when project starts, development and coding and every stage of CI/CD pipeline is completed. Now the project is fully deployed and ready for use. What would be the role of DevOps engineer in that? Once the complete deployment or the life cycle has been complete for the development.
Development is continuous, right? That's what we are saying. Coding is not like it's not developed all of together once. Client comes up with new features, new requirements, modifications will be always there. That's what is the customer facing world today. Requirements keep on changing. They need new features.
That's fine. That's why I say suppose 10 iterations of changes happened and now the project for some time has been asked that has been, the flag is raised that, now it's complete. Future requirements will come, but for now it is complete. So what would be the role of DevOps engineer monitoring?
As long as the project is there, whenever there is a new change, it should trigger the pipeline, right? During this process, any broken pipelines, any modifications to the pipelines, they may want to use new stages in the pipelines. They may want to remove some new stages. They may want to integrate something else, modifications. All of this, who will handle? As long as the project is running, you need a DevOps person. Even though the project requirement is completed, like let's say coding is completed, they were all done. Still modifications to the pipeline. Let's say they want to integrate new phase of code coverage into the pipeline. Or else they
Leave the part of
some
modification.
metrics.
Suppose for some time the project is stable and there are no changes. Then what's the role of DevOps engineer into that?
See, for designing the pipeline, initially you need more people. Okay. Also, for any modifications in the pipeline to monitor the pipelines, you need a DevOps. Even though the code is stable and all, in that cases, there's no project at all, right? If code is stable, what is the point of running a project? In your case, like you're talking about, if there is no more coding, it's all stabilized. What is the point of running it project? Project can be closed.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
So let me share the results of the quiz. Thank you all whoever have taken it. If you are not seeing it for some reasons, you can let me know. I'm closing this quiz and you can see the results. Got the results? Right.
Ma'am,
So,
I have a question. Hello.
yes.
As a 2024 passed out, what about the career in DevOps? Is any company recognize freshers as a DevOps role?
Any which year passed out? May I know which year passed out?
2024 passed out.
2024 passed out as a fresher. Okay. See, as a fresher, you should have weightage on your resume. You will learn some tools, or generally what people do, they'll learn some programming language, particularly Java or something, and they would add it in a resume for weightage, right? So if you have certain knowledge on these tools, if any fresher have knowledge on DevOps tools, it's going to be a great plus for them. Companies wouldn't need a separate training for them, right? So you have a scope into DevOps role, right? You can be a DevOps engineer with the skill set you have. Add them in your resume and see the calls. You will know how much weightage you will have it. Particularly, we are recruiting interns in the companies, in the organizations, we are recruiting interns or else the freshers. When I see a resume of a fresher with these tools in this resume, that itself is a plus for them. Because a fresher having knowledge of Docker, at least if they know what is Docker, that itself is a plus, right? Definitely, if I am there in the recruitment panel, if I see a fresher resume with this skill set, definitely I wouldn't go for another option. And yes, you have an option, you have a scope for getting into DevOps as a fresher as well. Have some basic knowledge is also enough for them.
Actually, what are the major roles in CI/CD pipeline? DevOps engineer.
Building the CI/CD pipeline, you have to design the pipeline, create the pipeline, add the different phases, integrate the different tools. You decide which tool should be used, create this pipeline. If pipeline is already created, if they're running it, something broken, pipeline is paused or broken or stopped, terminated, pipeline is not working as expected, you have to fix it. So you are involved from creating it, building it, or fix it, repair the pipelines, like if something went wrong, right? All of these are the roles, major roles with respect to CI/CD pipeline. With respect to infrastructure setup, yes, you should be writing Terraform, using Terraform to spin up your infrastructure on AWS or Azure, whatever, or any cloud platform. You may have to do configuration management with Ansible. Ansible can be used for deployments. These are all the different scenarios or use cases which also shows the roles of a DevOps engineer. Okay, we'll be going through these different scenarios, use cases, once we get started from tomorrow. So any more questions from anyone? So that is all from my end, and thank you all for joining, and see you all tomorrow in the next class, wherein we'll be starting with a version control system like it. Thank you all once again. Have a good day. If you have any further questions, you can reach out to me on the WhatsApp, or else you can contact the number on the website as well. All right then. Good day. Happy weekend. See you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Preethi.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yes.